Good morning, class. On week 7 of the at-home learning for science, we've done a few things over the last few weeks over structures of plants and life cycles of different animals and species. This week we're going to talk about animal structures and the functions that go with different types of structures on different types of animals. Again, if we go through this reading real quick, and it looks like a lot on this page, we're going to break it down real quick to go through exactly what you need to know, what you want to pull out from the reading and the text to make sure that you understand when asked maybe some short questions or so at the end of the topic, that you'll be able to find them fairly quick and in a simplistic manner. Remember, again, any bold word or anything that we're looking at on a diagram or our reading is going to be a word that maybe they want us to know a little bit more about. That's why it's bolded, so you see it. So we're going to highlight it if you have a color, or if you have, I have a yellow highlighter. So the first word we're going to see is structure. And any structure that you have, whether it be an animal, plant, non-living material, it's just going to be part of an organism. At this point, because we're talking about animals, we're talking about a body part of an organism. And if you see structures, they serve as a function that helps an organism meet its needs in its environment. So that's what the word function means. Function is it's an organism. It helps organisms meet the needs of its environment. So structures is just plural of the word body parts. So that's what that is there. If you look here too, it talks about the tweezers. We did that when we had our guest speaker, Mr. Mertz, in the library with the bird beaks. You remember we had a little bit of tweezers or tongs or a few other tools that we were using for the birds and the different reasons why some of their birds are pointed, some of them are long and narrow. We talked about the different teeth and why they don't have too much big teeth, because their bodies are hollow a lot because they need to get in the air, and so the lighter that they weigh, the heavier they would be. It wouldn't be able to be flying so much or flying so high in the sky. And so right now we're talking about teeth. We're talking about teeth of a meat eater. So most meat eaters, if you think about any animal offhand, you would think of a sharp tooth, or the structure would be sharp teeth. The function would be for tearing meat. An example of a skull or an animal that has sharp teeth would be a cat. And then other examples would be a lion, an alligator. Now, of course, they only gave 3 examples on this one reading, but there's entirely a lot more out there. If you want to even think about dinosaurs, you could think about certain dinosaurs that are out there that have sharp teeth. You could think about maybe a dog. You could think about any other animal that has any type of sharp teeth. Those are used for tearing meat. And the tooth on the left shows it's kind of that, or it's really big. You could even say a crocodile as another example. And you can find different skulls on the internet that you can match to see the different types of teeth. I remember we went to the Science Museum and we saw those animals in the display. You could see their teeth, a lot of them, so you can see what type of animal they are, or if they are using their teeth as a function for tearing meat or for grinding plants. The flat teeth structure would be for grinding plants. And those are in typical animals such as a cow, and then other animals that have flat teeth. Those are a deer or a rabbit. Again, another animal that might have flat teeth could be an elephant. Those are very big animals, but yet they have big teeth, so they eat a lot of fruits or a lot of plain and a lot of plants in their diet. Probably a giraffe would also show the same thing. A zebra. Anything that has a diet primarily of plants or fruits or vegetables, they don't need really anything that's sharp to eat those kind of foods, because those foods are not so hard or thick, and they're easier to break away with a tooth that's flat, so they don't need anything too sharp. However, if you look at the sharp teeth and flat teeth, you have a little bit of both. You've got some flat and some sharp. Those eat both meat and plants. And so a good example of that is a raccoon. but also a pig and a human. If you think about the two top teeth you have here, on the front you have two sharp teeth, and then right underneath at the bottom you also have another set of two sharp teeth. And those are good for tearing or pulling away on an item that may be a little bit tough, such as a meat product or so if you're eating it. And then we have our teeth in the back that are flat, and we use those to grind and break away the items that we're eating. Now if we go finish up this front part of the paper, and we're almost finished with this first lesson. The skull is a bony structure that forms of the head of the animal and the backbone. So the skull is the top of every animal, and it also then fuses and connects to the spine or the vertebrae at the very back. Skulls give the information about whether the animal is a predator or prey. So you can tell by an animal if it has a predator sense or a prey sense just for the fact of how the skull is made. Predators have the eyes facing in the front. So you have eyes facing in the front. So if you look at the examples here, a wolf has the eyes on the front with the nose underneath. And you can see that those are animals that also are good for scavenging or hunting. And you see again other few examples. Obviously there's a lot more. You have the alligator and the cat that are also good for predator and hunting. Okay, so these are really good examples of automatically knowing whatever animal you see that has two eyes in the front of their skull, you can tell that automatically they're probably going to be allowing these animals to find food. So they're looking for food. They're a predator. If you look at the word prey, prey is the animals having eyes facing on the side, which allows them to see all the way in the front and almost all the way behind them because they can see on the peripherals of where the skull is. And so here you see that you have the eye on one side, and on the opposite skull, on the opposite side of the skull, you see that the other eye would be on that side, such as the deer. And you see the point of vision they have is on the side left and right rather than right in front like the wolf has. You can see this on a rabbit and the cow as well. And you also can see that it has more awareness of their surroundings just based on where their eyes are located on their skull. Now if you go back to the picture of the predator and prey, you can notice where the eyes are located and use those chants if you want to remember. Some of these chants came in handy when we were in school going over other content in science, such as the weather cycle, the water cycle, life cycle maybe. But if you have the eyes in the front, the animal hunts. Eyes on the side, the animal hides. So all those rhyme schemes, all those references to, if you want to make those little chants and make it easier for you, it definitely will bring it back to light, and it's not so hard to commit it to memory. Again, on this next sheet, you have a lot of good skulls that you can pull up for the QR codes. I believe, again, on the links that if you click on it, it takes you right to the site. Here's some more vocabulary about what each one is. So if you look here, carnivore is eats meat. So we could label this here carnivore. You have the herbivore that eats plants. And you have the omnivore that eats both plants and meat. And so there are all your examples together of what those words and definitions might mean. You have these little areas here that you can fill in. You don't necessarily have to do it. It's just extensions of your learning if you'd like. This is not the assignment for the week, so you can opt out of it. Here's the match cards if you'd like, and cut them out. Again, if you don't have scissors or you didn't print it out, don't worry about it. It would just be you flip them over, look for the symbols, match the symbols as you flip to the function and the structure of the skull. So let's go over first example of the first question on your assignment for the week. And let's zoom in for a little bit so you can get a clearer view of it. So here we're going to practice the rule strategy, which is read and reread, underline at least 3 to 4 keywords, list and label, eliminate any incorrect answers, and then select the best answer that is chosen for it to be correct. So if you have here, it says these pictures show a raccoon and its skull. So if we underline skull, we can give identity for the word, and so this is the model of the skull. And then you have the raccoon, and we've labeled now the raccoon. Pictures also are illustrations or models based on the type of teeth. So we're worried about the teeth. What type of food does the raccoon eat? And so if we get this out, that's our question. We have our model to go by. One of the things you can always do on our questions when we go back is go back and refrain to the pages that we just talked about and learned about. And so if I go and move this over and I'm matching for the skull on the teeth type, here's our skull of the raccoon, here's our skull of the raccoon. So it shows me the structure of the teeth is sharp and flat. So you've got a flat tooth and a sharp tooth, and their functions can eat meat and plants, so they're an omnivore. So if we look here, we're looking for an answer that's going to have both meat and plants. And so if we cross off the answers, we know that if it's just meat, that's not true because we have to have both plants and meat. And so we're going to label this here just so we don't have to refrain back too much. So we have now everything here. So if it says meat only, we have plants and meat, so A is incorrect. Plants only, we have plants and meat, so we know that B is incorrect. So now we're on the E part of our rules. So now we have C and D, so it has to be either C, plants and meat, or it has to be D, none of the above. And if I look at C and I say plants and meat, other animals, that's where the meat would come from. It matches the plants and meat that I labeled at here for my skull, so it can't be D. So our answer has to be C, and C would be the best choice for our answer. Any questions you have, please again refrain back to any text or email that you can send me. I know that a lot of you are doing really good work, and I appreciate all the effort that you're putting in for these last few weeks of the at-home learning. A lot of your justifications on your answer choices are doing really well. Your handwriting is impeccable. And just remember, guys, as you finish it, just turn it in as soon as you can. That way you don't have to worry about waiting or turning all this subject matter in together. So if you finish it today right after this video, just submit the science to me. I'll look at it, grade it, and you're done for the week. So just to kind of keep that in mind as a strategy for just having all your work done and turned in as soon as possible. Guys, thank you so much again for this week. I hope that you're doing well with all your other studies, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Safe Cinco de Mayo, and we will talk to you in either Zoom, an email, a phone conversation with your parents, and if not, be safe, and we will see you next week on week 8 of the at-home learning.